back.
We're back. After the last podcast,
Yep.
and we were talking a little bit about citizenship, we said let's keep going.
Yep.
And talk a little bit more about it. Right up front, we'll say, even though we're going to talk about our experience going for citizenship for myself and for our daughters, this in no way implies that this is the way it is now to get citizenship.
Correct. That's a big disclaimer right off the bat.
That always changes. But we will put a couple of links underneath the video on YouTube for some folks who may be able to help you and answer your questions for you.
Right, because not every state has a Portuguese consulate. That's number one. So, but yeah, no, I know that we're going to have people, because I do have a lot of people sending me messages of how can I do this, how can I do that, and we can talk about our journey, but things have changed since then, and they keep changing all the time.
Right. So, first question then is, when you get your American citizenship, did you lose your Portuguese citizenship?
No, we do not lose our Portuguese citizenship. I was born in the Azores. You cannot lose your citizenship of where you were born by becoming a U.S. citizen. That does not happen. I waited until I was pregnant with my twins to become an American citizen. I saw that things were changing. I wanted to vote, and I wanted to be part of that American. Because in my mind, I always thought that I would go back to Portugal and I would live there. And so that was always in the back of my head. And so I wouldn't need American citizenship because I was going to go back. But, I will go back just with American citizenship as well. So I have dual citizenship. And what happens is when you have citizenship of Portugal, your children can automatically have that dual citizenship under you.
They're automatically eligible.
Eligible, that's right.
They don't automatically have it, they are eligible for it.
There is paperwork that needs to go into it. And it's a lot of paperwork, and we have to be very patient with that paperwork because it's like any government agency, very bureaucratic. And so there are a lot of paper pushers. There's a lot of paper that needs to be signed, checked, rechecked, redone, all that stuff. And everything comes with a fee. Everything comes with a fee. So it's, so at first it was, now this is for us. This is what happened with us. So I went to the Portuguese consulate and said, I have, my daughters, my 3 daughters, I want them all to have dual citizenship. I want them all to have, they have the American passport. I want them to have their EU passport, Portuguese passport. And they were like, okay, this is how we start. So it was making sure that all my stuff was incorrectly, that they knew that, everything was registered, that I was married, my husband, because we had to make all the paperwork having it so that we have who's the father, who's the mother, all of that stuff, whose citizenship they are and all of that. And so that took a long time to come back. But it was fairly easy because all of my paperwork was already in the system. So that's what made it very easy. And then, so all of our girls are dual citizens. They all carry their Portuguese EU passports. So that's a wonderful thing. And so with that, like you had said before, we'll put at the end the people that helped us. And in the beginning of all this, the Portuguese consulate here, there was some changes. There was a lot of different changes.
Well, there's changes everywhere and always.
And always.
And, again, one of the challenges is websites aren't always updated, so the different consulate web pages aren't always updated to reflect what's happening back in the mainland where the government is and all that. So you don't know what to believe.
Right.
So as straightforward as it seemed for the offspring of a Portuguese citizen,
right,
we were thinking for marriage, it's got to be the same thing. We're married.
Right.
Marriage is registered and put in my paperwork. But at the time, now we're going back 5 or 6 years, there was that requirement for elementary level Portuguese that had to go through an official testing center and all of that. And I just didn't have time for that. And they also needed several letters of recommendation. I had to write an essay on why I wanted to be
in Portuguese.
In Portuguese, why I wanted to be a citizen and how I was involved in the Portuguese community. It was overwhelming.
It was a lot.
Quite frankly.
It was a lot.
And
now that's gone.
Maybe that was the point. They just wanted to discourage you. Like, oh, he's still here. What can we ask for next time? Yes. But when you were on your tour?
Yes. When I was on the tour in this past October,
yeah,
I'm on the tour, and there's somebody that was there, and they're like, "Oh, I'm getting my citizenship," and I'm like, "Do you speak Portuguese?" Because of course I had it still in my head, the rules of you needed to speak, you needed to know the language, you needed to read. So I'm like, "Oh, you can converse, you know Portuguese?" And she's like, "No, I'm married to Portuguese," and I'm like, "Well, that's not enough." That's not enough. You need to do this and that. And she goes, "Oh no, the rules changed last year." And I'm like, "What do you mean the rules changed last year?" She goes, "Oh, all you have to be is married for at least 6 years." And she goes, "And I've been married to my husband for 40." And I'm like, "Oh my." So it was a whole different way of doing it. And so we had started, there was we met this wonderful attorney out of New Jersey at one of a Portuguese event that we went to, and she helped people get their Portuguese citizenship. She would do all the translating that needed to be done if needed. She had someone working in Portugal that did the work in Portugal for her. So it was a tandem. They would work together on helping. So we went with her.
And I had started with her before the regulations changed.
Correct.
And kind of had to bookmark it.
Right.
And say, I'll get back to you when I'm less busy.
Right.
And then when I was less busy,
and
you would just come back from...
This is the news we found out. We reached out to her again and said, "Hey, are you aware?" And she goes, "Oh, I had you on pause. You had said to put everything on pause. So now you want to start again? We'll start again." So that's where we're in the process right now.
And so for me, pretty straightforward paperwork-wise because marriage was already registered.
Yes. Our children are all registered.
Children were already registered. So, but I still needed official birth certificate. I needed official FBI background check.
That's right. You had to go for your fingerprints too.
Well, that's the start of it.
Yeah.
And they all needed an official...
Oh, apostille.
Apostille, that's right. Yeah. Which is like a... oh, good heavens. It's an internationally recognized certification.
Right. So that all had to be... It wasn't just like a birth certificate. It had to be a birth certificate that had the apostille stamp on it.
So I was born in the state of Rhode Island. Yeah. I couldn't go to the town I was born in. I did that first and found out it was wrong. Right. I had to go to the state to get the official birth certificate with an apostille.
That's right.
Maybe a new term to you. It was a new term to me as
it
well.
Was.
They'll know what you need.
Yeah.
And they will help you through it. And our attorney helped me with that as well. So all of those things needed apostilles, and it took about 2 months to pull it together. But it was also over the holidays. Now I'm dealing with another bureaucracy, which was the state bureaucracy. You know, they say we'll call you as soon as it's ready. They don't call. Then when you do call, they said it was mailed.
It wasn't mailed.
It never showed up in the mail. So when I called back, they go, "Oh no, it wasn't mailed.
It's right here.
It's sitting here waiting for you." So we lost a month waiting on my birth certificate. But I got all the paperwork in, sent to the attorney. She proofed everything, translated whatever may have needed to be translated. She sent it in, and then we waited like 3 or 4 months before I heard back from her to say that the Portuguese government now has an official file number for it.
Like they received it. They've got proof. It's there.
So I'm like, hallelujah, it's received. And then I read the fine print, and from the time they receive it, it could be another 2 years. So it could be 2024.
Right.
Hopefully, before the citizenship goes
God willing.
through. And so I check diligently every Friday. It is still sitting in the we've received it. They have not gone any further. There's 7 more steps because everything has to be verified. And
so
triplified.
End of story is it's a long process.
It's a long process. There is no hurry.
There is no hurry.
On their side.
On their side, exactly. Although we know of people who they put in it and they got it right away, and we're like, how the heck?
Yeah.
It can happen, but the majority is where we're at, where it takes a very long time.
So probably the way to close out the conversation is, what is the benefit to having dual citizenship?
Go ahead, take it from there.
Well, if you want to live in Portugal, which we would like to do at some point, not year-round, but partially, it makes banking and cars and auto and properties, it makes all of that a lot easier, because then you'll have a tax number. And I'm sure some of you are saying, no, Bob, you don't need that to do it. I'm sure you don't. But
you don't. You really don't. But if we want to stay there for 6 months or 7 months or 8 months, it's not, we can choose how long we want to be there. I don't want to be told you can only be there for so many days and then you've got to go back to the U.S. and then you need to come back. It was like, no, we don't want to do that. Right. It'll make it easier.
So for us, it's a step towards that.
Yeah.
And if we do end up owning property there, it'll be easier, right, to leave it to
our children.
Yeah. For them to have as well.
Yeah.
Now, when you are traveling between here and there, do you carry both your passports?
I do carry both passports. And I carry my citizen card as well.
So can you go in to Portugal with either passport?
I can.
Now, when you are coming back to the U.S., you're going to use the American passport?
I do.
Right.
I do.
Do they ever ask to see both of them?
No, not here. No.
So what's the benefit then of using the Portuguese passport
to go in?
Over there? Because
there's the Portuguese aisle, EU, and then there's everybody else. And it's a very quick in and out going through the EU one by just showing my EU passport. So, and I just don't have that long line to go through. I'm coming back. It's like, here I am. And it's like, bon dia, next.
And then, of course, if we're over there, we can travel around any of the EU countries.
Any of them without any problem.
Seamlessly, so that would be
right.
pretty nice as well. And our daughters will be able to do that.
To do the same. And now it's telling my daughter now to say, hey, our granddaughter, she's 3 years old. She needs her passport. She needs her citizenship being, for her to have dual citizenship.
Because the dream situation right now would be, you're out there. I know you're looking for me to hire me because you need middle management for whatever your job is, and I could do it from there.
Yes.
A hardworking, honest young man learning the Portuguese. I don't know why you find this so funny.
Because the thing is we've always said we would love to retire there. We would love to retire there. We would love to be able to retire and enjoy ourselves there and be able to do those other things that we're able to do and actually work remotely also from there as well. So it is that is our game plan. And I know a lot of you that are listening and a lot of you that follow me feel the same way. You all want to, some of you want to do that.
I wonder if the guy with the hot dog cart in San Miguel's hiring.
You would want to sell hot dogs. Hey, why not?
What's more American than a hot dog?
What's more American than a hot dog? Although that hot dog is amazing. If any of those that have never tried.
It's probably the best hot dog I've ever had.
It's the best hot dog we've ever had. Exactly. And it's Mauricio. Mauricio's.
Yes.
He's a real good guy. And but before I forget, we'll put the name of the attorney that you worked with that helped you. But since then, there is another agency that just opened up, because that was literally the closest one we could find. There were others in California, there were others in other states, but New Jersey, the attorney that we worked with is out of New Jersey. And that was the closest we could find in the East Coast. But now there's another company that just opened up in Rhode Island. And we'll make sure we add that one on there as well.
And check with both of them to make sure they're okay with us sharing their links.
Yeah. Yes, we will. We'll make sure with them first. But no, it is easy. It's time consuming. We are going to say that again. It's time consuming.
Calma. You need patience.
And for every paperwork and everything that needs to be done, it does come at a cost. Yeah. It is not free. It is not free.
You want a hot dog? I feel like a hot dog now.
I want a hot dog now, too.
All right, we're going for hot dogs.
We're going for hot dogs now,
guys. Not for Mauricio, though.
Not for Mauricio. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Until next time.